Thank you for staying with us on AM 120. We're talking about insecurity, proffering solutions through technology, and our engineers are in-house to talk to us about where we are as a nation with regards to deploying technology to deal with the security challenges and where we need to be. Our next guest this morning, Engineer Olukokun Okpeyemi, is the founder Think Electric Africa Initiative. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you here with us.
I'm happy to be here too.
Good to have you, Engineer Olukokun.
Thank you.
Nigeria is challenged nationwide, and we are not far from it. These security challenges in your state. And of course, globally, the deployment of technology is key in either prevention of insecurity or dealing with it effectively, promptly. Where are we located in view of all these challenges?
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have not been promoting technology so well in this country. And there are a lot of young people that are so vast in this tech. And that is why we always talk about enabling environment and all of that. There is nothing we cannot do by ourselves here. But we don't have the will, we don't have the push to get it done. And again, when we talk about insecurity, public safety, I don't want us to narrow it down to killer hitmen, Boko Haram, the terrorists and all. It's a broad kind of sector. We're talking about the biggest threat to public safety and security is climate change. And we don't really talk about it. It's not anywhere. You can find it. There's only few people that know about it and talk about it. We're talking about public safety and security.
The biggest threat, please do that again.
To public safety and security is climate change. It affects everyone, everywhere. Of course, you've heard about the flood and everywhere going on now, right now. We think it's because there is too much rain. No, it's because of climate change. The sea levels are rising and all of that. Then, when we're talking about public safety as well and that of security, we should be talking about traffic control too. We should be talking about food security.
Yeah.
We should be talking about so many things under that. But because, I'm not trying to downgrade the killer hitmen and all of that is killing, but we should look at it also
holistically.
You understand? So we can know how to use tech to actively deal with these threats.
All right, so if we're going to be talking about using tech right now, I know we have tech in a number of forms.
Yes.
Now, what should we particularly be looking at for Nigeria in terms of, tech that would be beneficial to us?
You see, there's no one solution that solves it all.
So talk to us.
Yeah, so we begin to look at, you see, technology is meant to be adapted to a particular situation. It's not like you bring a tech somewhere and you just drop it on us and you think it will function. No. For instance, when an America is developing a particular technology, they are looking at the peculiarities in the environment to develop such technology. So we cannot just borrow or adopt without adapting. Adaptation is very key. So we study what our peculiarities are, what our situations are, then we can use tech that fit into this. Now, we are talking about latest trend of technology. Of course, we have a lot of them. We have artificial intelligence, we have machine learning, which is also a branch of AI, we have computer vision. All of these and combination of all of these will fortify our public safety and security sector. So a combination of all of this is what we need. Then, okay, let's start talking about breaking it down into different things. Your state has a particular system right now where they have the control somewhere in Onyoreke that looks at every location, cameras and all of that, which is a very good thing. But is it smart? Analytics can be done on it? I don't think so. I think it's only human beings that are manning those securities, watching and everything. If we have analytics, if we make it smart, it will be able to, after training the system, it will be able to detect and alert the people, the first responders, so to say, you know. So it's going to be seamless, in which every system we have, then we will have facial recognition, face and facial recognition as a form of biometrics and as a form of identification to isolate perpetrators or those that want to commit any kind of crime. So it's not enough to just have CCTV in the whole of Ibadan. We must put technology in it, the latest trend of technology, train these systems, make sure they are working independently to give us, I mean, there are 4 things every system must do if we have to, you know, fortify the security system, and that is to protect, prevent, detect, and respond. Once we have systems in place and they are able to achieve these 4 things, these 4 activities, then we can say the system is smart.
But then, aren't, you know, this what you have described now, isn't it dependent on Nigeria having a robust and comprehensive database of everyone?
Unfortunately, that's the case because AI and all other technologies rely on data a lot of data, okay, big data, I mean. So if you will train a particular system, you need to have millions of data for that system to learn. Oh, this is this. You have to train and retrain for it to be able to give a good decision. So we rely on that, but you know, all of these things are not isolated. There are a lot of firms now that are making those data available, though with some bias, because there were some systems deployed by Microsoft and I think IBM sometimes ago that identifies a black man holding a thermometer or cigarette as holding a gun. And it's because of the society that we have. We know what is going on with white supremacy and all of that. So if we can remove those biases, then the system can be much more reliable to give accurate decisions.
Where are we in Nigeria with regards to having that database, that's comprehensive one?
Like I said, there are a lot of companies making those data available. It can be used to train. It doesn't mean that we have to start our own afresh on that aspect. But when it comes to deploying those technology, we are nowhere. That's it.
Now, let's look at a scenario. We have all these systems in place, perfect in quote, but without a database. And the database I'm specifically talking about is individuals' database, potential criminals, and their profiles. So how effective will those systems be?
Thinking about it, I think we've just not been very efficient with data we have. Look at how much of data the government have collected in the last few years. The NIN, it contains biometrics, right? It contains your picture that can be analyzed by AI too. It contains so many other data. We have the BVN as well. We have INEC. So what we need to do is to bring all these things, all this data together, harmonize them.
And one big question, our security agencies, the police, the ESS, are they collecting, biometric data of all those who are passing through them and feeding them into a central base?
Yeah, I don't know how they do that because most of our police stations still rely on manual systems. While we have smart systems, smart police station, especially in Dubai, that you don't interact with anybody, you get everything done to report crime, to do this, to do that. That's when active profiling has been done. You see, that's why I'm saying that we can borrow from all the data already collected by all these agencies of the government, harmonize them and start using them for law enforcement, for public safety, for different things, that has to do with security. I don't think it is proper. It would be crude or cruel for us to ask Nigerians to start another fresh registration for law enforcement and all of that. Doesn't make sense. So let us look at the ones we already have with all these agencies, then begin to, use it for law enforcement, for facial recognition, for crime database, if you've had any crime record and all of that, you know, we all know that one of the biggest problem we have in the country is that database. But we actually have it, but they are not so efficient. We are not using it efficiently in such a way that we should not be having NIN having their own database, INEC having their own database, and all of that. It should be...
There's a National Identity Management Commission now.
Yes.
Harmonizing all of that.
Well, I don't have that information yet, but if they can do that successfully, we are on the right track going forward.
As a Nigerian, when you wake up and go through the papers, listen to news, and you hear of issues of people being kidnapped, banditry, and the likes, as an engineer, as someone that understands technology like this, what goes through your mind with regards to what we need to do, what we have currently to combat crime?
Like I said, because I delivered a lecture to the NFC on Monday on this topic, I told them that public safety and security can never be without technology. If we do not incorporate technology into this system, we will still be having it like this forever.
Really?
Because crime and public safety issues evolves. Crime doesn't come in one format. It comes in different ways. It's too dynamic. You need technology to be able to pick it. So most of what we do is respond in this country. We do not prevent. We do not dictate. And technology will be able to do all of this. So when you are able to dictate and identify or isolate threats, then you'll be able to prevent it. Then response might not be so necessary except when it has really happened. So what we should be doing is to be proactive. Detect crime when it's about to be committed. We were just talking backstage about the arson that occurred in Abuja,
the girl that lit up a supermarket.
They had CCTV, but that CCTV, that surveillance was not smart. It was just to record activities, and maybe they have someone looking at different channels there. It's not. You see, that CCTV couldn't even prevent such occurrence now, but it will be able to make them respond, like, oh, this is the person that perpetrated the evil and all of that, we'll arrest. That's when the deed has been done. But we are talking about, don't let us even get here first. We have technology to deploy to prevent this kind of occurrence. So if the system has been smart, with all these gestures the girl was making, trying to light up a match or whatever to burn it would have triggered an alarm that someone is behaving irrationally somewhere and portray some kind of threat. Alert the security officers or personnel in and they rescue the mission.
Okay.
The issue.
Now let's take a look at the attack on schools, secondary schools, and tertiary institutions, educational institutions generally. Now, what kind of technology, proactive technology, could be deployed in such a situation? Because it's really, really worrisome that bandits will walk into a school and remove 100 or 150 students and get away with it.
It's worrisome. It's a shame to identify yourself as a Nigerian when such things occur. And I don't know how the law enforcement are seeing it, but for us, the citizens, we think we are in a jungle in 2021. And you see, whenever they say that bandits, they go into the bush, they go into all of that, everything is on map. There's no hiding place in today's world. Being forest or bush is not an excuse. So whichever way, wherever they come from, whether they've been hiding in the bush, passing through kilometers of bush, those schools are not inside bush. They will still have to come back to the main road or something to access the school, whichever way. So one of the technologies to be deployed is the smart cameras that we just talked about, you have these cameras that is able to identify someone that is harmed. You know, the system has been trained. It's smart. It's able to say, oh, it's not a normal, this looks like someone that is going for a combat. You know, we'll be able to identify and raise alarm. And the system will work in such a way that it will dispatch the information to security operatives around immediately.
Aerially deployed surveillance.
Combination of it all. We can't just say one system, like I said earlier, one system cannot fit all solutions, especially in this dynamic
but when we talk about aerial surveillance, a lot of people will say the use of drones is necessary. We hear that time and time again. But and we see photographers, we see the average individual, you know, having drones and using the drones. But for security solutions right now, is it such a difficult thing?
No, it's not, of course.
So we're wondering
my counterpart here will talk about their technology they are developing in-house, which is related to what we just discussed. So I don't want to bring it beforehand. You know, they'll be able to dwell more on that aspect when they come around. Now, what I'm saying is those technologies are available and they are usable and they are working. What matters most is, are we willing to use them?
Is it a case of, you know, a lack of will to do so? If you say it's available and we are still dealing with it.
Yes, of course. I just told you in Nigeria developed one to combat this. It's not something you have to go and buy from abroad. It's something, that's why the NSC is shouting for innovation. Let us advance our innovation. Let us, you know, research and develop locally.
Now, when you have all of this,
okay,
are you interfacing with government? Are you doing the demos? Are you doing presentations? You know, if people do not know about it?
This is why I said willing, when the government is willing. Because I read about the technology on social media as well. And I believe whatever that is social media, the government is aware. So if they are interested...
Well, that's unofficial interaction.
Well, I won't be able to talk for the innovator, you know. So they will be able to tell if they've been able to interface with government agencies to...
We say that because we have had encounters with researchers and they tell research findings, and
the truth is that every researcher in this country, they are on their own. There's no fund, there's no kind of help, no matter what, how much you try. So most of us rely on foreign aids to actually...
And you're not patenting to those who...
No, actually, I have most of my patents here in Nigeria here. Of course, because patent is territorial. So I have it here because the market, the technology developed is to suit this market, this environment. That's why I said technology is not like you just bring it in and start deploying it. It has to be adapted. We've looked at the peculiarities of our own nation, of our own environment, and say, okay, this will work here, this will work here. So we cannot just say, because we have a technology, let us go to US and patent it. It doesn't make sense, because that problem might not be their problem in that environment. You know, the problem the technology is solving might not be their problem there. And it's not all about money. Most times it's all about providing solutions to problems and making sure we all live well. So there are a lot of technologies Nigerians are making, smart homes, smart cities, everything, only that we need more from the government to be able to aggregate researchers and innovators towards a particular cause. And that is why NSC had this week on public safety, this lecture on public safety and security, to be able to find those Nigerians, those innovators locally that are doing this much to be, to protect our lives and property. So that's why I tried earlier painting a picture, a broader picture of what public safety and security is. So when you see someone innovating in the area of climate change, that person is a stakeholder in public safety and security. People in agriculture, agri-tech, and all of that too, they're actually helping, So we will implore the government to be more active, whether local government, whether state government, whether federal, because security is the business of everyone. And NSC, of course, look around you. everything you see around here is a product of engineering. And without safety in those equipments, in these gadgets around here, we won't be using them. So engineers are much more concerned about safety and security. In fact, they are one of the stakeholders that is working towards
Yeah, but you know, listening to you, I hear that we have solutions. These solutions are already on ground.
Yes.
Yet Nigerians are not enjoying it. You say we need that will. What do you think would be the starting point right now with regards to you getting all of what are solutions that are on ground right now up and running, you know, to help Nigerians?
Well, I hate to say, because they say most of us talk about money, but funding is one vital key point in this. Of course, research is expensive, and you cannot just put it on your budget like, oh, I want to spend this amount of money on this research. It doesn't work.
But you wouldn't also want, you know, your products, you know, to just gather dust.
Yeah, definitely. So we will dwell more on funding from private sectors and public sectors, especially towards a particular solution. Okay, we are having problems in security, especially we want to prevent kidnappings and other things, terrorism. We need innovators. Please come around. Some of us will come over, they screen us, they say, okay, let us see what you can do. Then the government fund the whole process, tested and deployed. That's one way. You know, the other way is that I see that in this environment we are over dependent on government. Everything is about government. But no, in other climes it doesn't work that way. Most things depend on private sector. That is why the economy.
How much of collaboration are you guys doing with industry that need? When you talk about public safety, industry is involved. There's a need for a lot of safety, even in the industrial environment, because in industry, safety first, safety last. So how much collaboration are you doing with industry?
You see, collaboration is not one-way thing. It's mutual. I can extend my proposal to you that I want to collaborate with you. If you are not willing, what do I do?
You can, there is a way, persuasion.
Security, like you said, is a business of everybody. If you don't have security, industries will not thrive. So why are you not interested? Why won't you be interested?
You can be persuasive. If you make me see, I may not know. If you make me see the need and even the profitability of doing it.
One of the problems I think we have in this part of the world is ego. Yes, it's ego. If we can do away with our ego, we will see solutions in every other man's efforts. I mean, what should be persuasive about you being the MD being kidnapped on the road? What more persuasion do you need?
Isn't this ego thing looking a two-way affair?
Well, I just think it's a general problem. One of the biggest problems we have in Africa. If we can do away with our ego and see how to help the next person, most effort we use of persuasion will not be needed, actually, especially when it comes to our own safety, which is called public safety and security. It's public. It's everybody's concern.
Everybody's concerned. There's another issue that gets a lot of people worried. It depends. The fact that, you know, almost everybody has a phone right now, a smartphone. Some will say on one hand, it should enhance our security.
Definitely.
And on the other hand, there are security issues that could be attached to this.
Yes.
When you, you know, from your lenses right now, what would you be telling Nigerians now? We all have these devices with us.
Yes. Whether smartphones or normal phones that are not smart, they are vital tools for security and public safety. Unfortunately, Nigerians, Africans use it for entertainment more, you know, and there are a lot of applications. The My Oyo app, the newly deployed Eagle High by EFCC, these are applications that can fortify our security, you know. So I would tell Nigerians that what you have in your hand, that little camera, is a vital tool. Video evidence is undeniable anywhere, you know. So And the technology has advanced so much that whatever the camera is seeing can be processed like a human being will process it and say, oh, this person with a gun, and the look on his face meant evil. In other crimes, crime cannot go just like that. In less than 24 hours, they will have identified and pinpointed the perpetrator. You know why? Cameras everywhere. Even if there are no surveillance camera, there are smartphones everywhere. Someone somewhere must have seen something and will have recorded that event. You know. So I would tell Nigerians to be more active and not so social alone with their smartphones. It's not all about entertainment. It's not all about going viral. It's about securing our lives and property, and which your smartphone can really help.
So when kidnappers make calls, to families of victims, who would have thought that just by using that phone, that's enough to pinpoint the location of that kidnapper?
Of course, the technology has been available for years. The police have it.
So what's going on in Nigeria, in your opinion?
Okay, so let's go back to the first thing, the will. Do they have a will? So, I mean, that's not my own area. I'm not government, so I don't know what is happening.
There were reports in the media space just about a fortnight ago that the police capacity in this particular regard has been hindered by maintenance issues. Aren't we able to maintain these things?
It's from day one, since I started knowing things, we all say Nigeria lacks good maintenance culture, and which dwells on will as well. We need to, because everything has life expectancy. That you have a car, which is good, doesn't mean you won't maintain it if you want to stay on the road. So we must imbibe that spirit of maintenance and all of that. And coming from a government agency, it is appalling to say the law enforcement agents have been hindered and they cannot. It's infuriating, seriously.
Now,
that's why you have different groups now having their own self-determination.
Okay, let's have a scenario. I want to use the example of what transpired in Igogo.
Okay.
Over and over again. And this latest one being the customs raid that people thought in the dead of the night was an attack again by herdsmen or whatever. Now, what kind of surveillance, what kind of gadgets, what kind of electronic proactive measures could be taken smart this time around, deployed in that area?
You see, I don't want us to overthink technology. What you just described that happened is a communication error.
Exactly, yes. But if that happens now,
you see, most technologies depend on human as well. They don't just work on their own. If technology does its work and you still do not do your work, the result will still be the same.
A communication gap has occurred.
Except we start having robo-police. Like, we have robots on the road, and I don't think it is deployed anywhere in the world yet because of, technologies are prone to, have their cons too. They can be hacked. And look at that. Whatever system you deploy in a place like Igogo needs seamless network.
At least you will have identified that these are not harders, this is not an attack, these are legitimate.
The first error was communication.
Granted.
It was just that.
Granted.
You don't need to start looking for a heavy technology to deploy to detect whether you are a custom officer or you are bandit. It's just communication. Just communicate to whatever sector. So, and that even exposed the disharmony between our law enforcement agents. And this is 2021, this 21st century shouldn't be. It's uncalled for. It's infuriating, even thinking about it. What happens to, communicate to all law enforcement agencies around that location that we are having a raid and it's secretive. Of course, when you were going to Igboho, you were able to coordinate all law enforcement, right? So I think their choices are selective. I don't understand it. It's beyond human reasoning. Why? Even I saw the interview with the state governor, Engineer Makinde, says they didn't know anything.
In essence, this human factor is still critical.
It's critical, of
All
course.
right.
All right.
We have to end it here and say a very big thank you to you, Engineer Olukoku Opeyemi, founder of Think Electric Africa Initiative. Thank you for talking to us this morning. We'll take a break right now.
Thank you very much.